My mom really wants us to have a good life. In order to do that, she needs to put money on the table, which is why she's always up at like 5:30 in the morning. She feels like we deserve a better life than she had when she was a kid. She's been through the hardships of literally starting from nothing in a country that isn't your own. She really wants to be sure that we could go farther than she ever could.
There are very few projects you can be involved in that make a generational difference. Taking kids who really don't have an opportunity to get a prep school education and to get a college education, for us, was an important thing.
The whole history of Cristo Rey Atlanta has been improbable. There was a great deal of concern whether or not we could even get the school off the ground. But then after 2 years, we were running out of space in the existing building, and so we needed to move.
So we began looking for a building on Mata for the Cristo Rey students to come to school, and found this Oxford building that was for rent, and we couldn't afford to rent.
Our parents have an average family income of about $30,000 here in Atlanta. So we don't charge hardly anything to the parents in terms of tuition or fees.
People told Bill Garrett that Jim Cumming would never donate this building.
When we approached Jim Cumming about the possibility of him donating the building to us, he said,
"Are you serious?" And he looks with a straight face, he said, "Yes." And I looked back at him and I said, "That's totally impossible."
It was impossible, but it happened.
And it was a terrific, incredibly good feeling for us.
We were very, very concerned about its structural condition being 50 years old. We knew from its age and the fact that it had precast on the outside of it that there were going to be water problems.
The building as a whole was on the verge of dilapidation. The lower floors definitely had some corrosion.
The elevators didn't work. The heating system was non-existent.
The existing windows were the original plate glass. We looked at redoing all of the concrete panels. Of course, that would have been very cost prohibitive. The bottom two floors, we eventually said, we'll just leave the precast panels in place and just put a new skin on it.
When we started this project, we did not have the $25 million that we needed to make this thing go. And so we needed a partner, somebody who would say, okay, I will go along with you as far as your resources will take you. And so Ted took a flyer with us.
We have to have the building. We have outgrown where we're at. We will be out of there in May, completely.
Nick Gentili was our staff person leading the effort for us.
I wound up asking about a half a dozen construction companies. Benning was the most professional of all the groups, and I also was comfortable that they had the best interest of the building and the school in mind from the time we first met.
The experts in how this school is supposed to function, the experts were Cristo Rey. So we wanted to be sure that we were listening to how they needed to create a facility to help nurture those students.
Our students have very different challenges.
You would be hard-pressed to find another private school that pretty much exclusively serves students that might not be able to afford to go to some of the other private schools in the city.
For a lot of them, the 2 meals that they get here are probably the only 2 meals that they're getting throughout the day.
We don't have a real cafeteria, so everything is makeshift. So I'm looking forward to there being a real true cafeteria.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Good. That's great. Well, this is the 6th floor. And so what we did on this particular building is that this was the old Oxford Industries building. And these will be the new classrooms. Do they look larger? Yeah. All right, great.
When we designed plans and specifications and Cristo Rey approved that design, we made very few changes, and it allowed us to concentrate on schedule, it allowed us to concentrate on quality. And that is such a rare coin in our business. Now, there was add-on scope where we did a gym.
There was a 50-year-old deck there. It was cracked and the concrete looked like it was starting to deteriorate, and it was just time for it to come down.
The existing Oxford building was fed underground, under the building, under the sidewalk. We had to pull additional copper, 2 runs, about 100 feet from the switchboard inside the Oxford building to the Georgia Power Vault, and we did it all in one day.
Sheetrock and paint cover a lot, don't they?
It's exciting.
7th floor looks pretty good too. I don't know if you've been up there, but
Not recently.
we're about ready to start running ceiling grid up there. There's your break room right there.
Yeah. We'll go with the orange wall and the accent like we did upstairs.
Good.
But this looks great.
Yeah, this turned
Don't have
out
the
as
whole
well as
floor
we
in.
could hope.
On a typical job that I'm on, foundation experts come before me. This job, because of the time constraints that we were in, we came in and worked alongside the pile drivers.
Being a project manager out at Cristo Rey, a lot of it was a referee, just making sure that everyone had enough space to work in the same space at the same time. We had 7 floors, so we probably had 20 trades going on at any given moment. Once they started, it was wide open until completion. Spreading people out and directing traffic was a big thing.
Good morning. How are you? Good. Good morning. How are you? Good. Good to see you. Welcome back.
There was a bit of joyful chaos in the last building in that as soon as the bell rang and classes changed, everybody in the school was in the common spaces all at once. But we speak a lot here about using the time from bell to bell. So here, first of all, the fact that we have classroom space dedicated to a particular teacher or a particular subject allows us to maximize the hour that we have with each student. Little things like projectors easily play a video without tremendous effort.
The first day I walked in this building, I remember looking around and saying, this is a very state-of-the-art lab. And slowly pour it into the sodium hydroxide, slowly. It certainly exceeded my expectations. It's fully ventilated, there's no toxic fumes getting out to the classroom. It's not just the formula, you know, we actually get to do science, we get to explore.
We haven't had a gym for 3 years. Somewhere we can play basketball, somewhere we can have practice.
If students wanted to go out and play or practice, it was entirely dependent on weather.
It used to be on concrete, kind of like an incline on a hill. That's not really the best environment to play anything on, because if you fall, it's gonna hurt.
As a school counselor, it will mean that my students who I encourage to get exercise, it will give them a space to be able to do that.
Also, having the games here and having the gym will help a lot for school spirit.
The gymnasium expansion was to include a outdoor play area. You don't see an outdoor play area in downtown Atlanta.
I'm excited. Now that we have a soccer field, it's like, wow, like we're actually a high school now.
Are we going to have pep rallies? Viva Cristo Rey! Viva Cristo Rey!
The reward of this place is watching students grow, watching students all of a sudden believe that they are college worthy and come bring me their grades. Look, did you ever think that I would really be ready for college?
I feel like what really stands out about Cristo Rey, teachers are very dedicated into really making sure that we have an education here. Because I know for a fact that if I stay after school for 30 minutes and just go into my teacher's office, he will help me for an hour. And that's something that I really find pleasure in, you know, having really to kick my own butt in order to like get a problem right, which is why I always do in calculus.
¿Cómo te fue, Abraham?
Bien. Tomé unos 2 exámenes hoy.
Cristo Rey does not say you need to be smart to succeed. It's telling you you need to have the motivation to succeed. It's just the discipline and the mental state a person has that makes them successful. That is what Cristo Rey is truly trying to promote.
For me, Cristo Rey is about social justice. I think we as citizens of Atlanta have a moral obligation to make a difference in the lives of students who are deserving and who have the desire to make an impact on their life.
I see our students out showing people this is what education can do for people. I want them to help steer society. I think they have an awful lot to offer. Our students are amazing.
In 2013, I wouldn't have envisioned that all of this could be possible in such a short period of time. It still takes my breath away when I think about it.
I definitely had the sense that for Ted Benning, this was a legacy project.
I think Cristo Rey will always be a place that when I go by, I'll say, gosh, I was glad I was involved in that.
I've learned a lot just listening to Ted. Ted has this real desire and thirst for holiness, but he would never use those terms. He'd be embarrassed to use those terms, but his life is about purpose, is about meaning. It's about the bigger picture.
Alan Wallace, the superintendent, started a drive of clothes, distributed to the street folks here just to be sure that everybody had something warm to wear.
He's authentic. He smells phoniness a million miles away. And so when he senses something that's authentic, that's real, that somehow is about that bigger purpose, is about that meaning, he's all in. He's all in.
The view has to be longer than what's in it for me today. And hopefully I'm doing that, and our company is doing that a little bit better today than we did yesterday.
There's something very special about our students and the energy that is in this building.
Like every building, you give your children away. You nurture a building, you get it done, you polish it, and you turn it over, and then the folks that ultimately are going to use it, and they enjoy it, then that's all the better. Lead building is nothing but a tool. It's a tool that's used for those kids to learn. The fact that we've been fortunate enough to be able to give something back is, for us, a blessing.
Anytime you get a solid education and then you get married and have your own children, you're going to pass on the educational values you received to your family members. And so I think we're making a difference for generations to come, and I think that's pretty sizable.
This opportunity could lead to something greater than just well-educated young men and women who go off to be part of the workforce, but that it would actually create young men and women who are men and women for and with others, which is what our mission is.
I was given a tour right after my interview for this job, and Father Van Dyke told me, when these kids graduate, there won't be a dry eye in the room. I remember thinking, okay, yeah, whatever. But I think after about a week, I knew exactly what he meant, and I can absolutely guarantee that I will be crying on their graduation day.
You are worthy. Let others know they also are of worth. Help someone else along the way. Come home. We will always be here for you.